What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel. Now, if you paid attention to my video backgrounds, which of course you've all been doing because I've been secretly hiding clues in the background. No, I haven't. Don't go back through my catalog looking for clues. But I have changed hotels. Now, I'm actually in a ancient Chinese hotel that's owned by this family, and it's actually a minority nation hotel. It looks pretty cool from the outside, but you're not going to see it from the outside because my cameras are inside, and I don't want to take them outside. And this hotel itself is actually in the middle of a tourist spot, and we have thousands of Chinese people going by, like literally right now. Like, I am dead in the middle of a tourist spot. So if you hear car horns going off, music, like random speakers of people trying to sell food and shit like that, just understand that it is the tourists outside the hotel. I do not have anyone locked up in my hotel room. Now, the other thing is, I just realized I left the window open, so literally anyone could look in right now and see that I'm sitting here on the end of my bed with no pants on, got a camera pointed at the bed, and I've got like mics and shit set up. Like, this probably looks like some dodgy porno's about to start. You know what? Let's do this, guys. No, I'm joking. I won't do that to you. And the last thing I want to point out is my cap. Now, I've gone through a pretty traumatic experience. See, over the last 6 months, I've been wearing the exact same cap. And this cap, that ain't it. See, I've changed caps. Now, this was not my intention. I did not have a nasty breakup with my previous cap. I loved my cap. I'd been wearing it for 6 months straight, never washed it once. It had the original flavor and smell, like it was burnt into the fabric. And my wife had been complaining about this hat for like, I don't know, a week or more, saying, you know, it stinks, you should wash it, blah, 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 you know, the usual stuff. She should be used to my smell by now. Like, what is it? 15 years we've been together? But anyway, when we moved hotels, she was like, oh, don't worry, I'll pack it. And I didn't think about it, okay? I just thought, oh, she's being handy. We arrive at the new hotel, and guess what? Fucking cap's gone, man. She's lost it. The cap has just suddenly disappeared on me. And then, as if guilty, she says, oh, well, that's okay, I bought you this new cap. Shit's pretty suspicious if you don't ask me. Well, you probably are asking me. But anyway, here's the last thing, okay? I don't know where the fuck this video is going, but this cap, there's something weird going on. Look at this, okay? This is the very top. It sits perfectly on my head. But there's this giant empty spot to the sides, and it's as if this cap is designed for a more circular head. I'm pretty sure, like, don't quote me on this, but do, like, people design hats for different ethnicities? Because, like, Chinese people, especially the further north you go, they got more rounder heads. And I feel like this cap is designed for a more rounder head, as opposed to, you know, my computer tower box-shaped head that I've got right here. And it doesn't feel right. It's not, like, the same as the old cap, man. Like, we had so many goddamn memories together. Anyway, let's talk about what I'm actually here to talk about, rather than a cap for 3 minutes. So I'm here to talk about weird trend of red-pilled language YouTubers. I don't know if anyone else has noticed these videos becoming more popular recently, but I keep getting videos in my feed for language learning that seem to copy the format of red-pilled manosphere self-improvement content. A lot of these sell courses through school, which is a platform Andrew Tate clones have been utilizing recently. Quite strange. Now, I have definitely noticed this. Now, if you go back about 5 years in the language learning space, you didn't have all of this, like, fraudulent stuff that you see now. Like, it did exist, obviously. It was there. It was, like, on the sidelines. People didn't really, like, say anything, but if it did happen, like, everyone was evident. Usually what it was just, like, some super nerd making outrageous claims. But at least he was interested in the languages he was learning. He liked the languages he was learning. But he just made completely insane claims way beyond his actual abilities, and everyone kind of knew that. Okay? But over the last year or so, it has been getting a lot worse, and it has been following the content that we're talking about, like, right here, which is basically, you get people coming into our space, and they're not just selling languages or bizarre, like, claims that they actually make. They're also selling sex and fucking prestige with it. So basically, they're coming in, like, all beefed up as if they just walked out of the fitness industry, which realistically is probably where they came from, because the fitness industry for the last 5+ years has been filled with this shit, and they've been dealing with this shit. It's like they've walked out of that space, come over here, and they're like, I speak 30 languages. Learn these languages from me, and you'll be banging chicks before the night's out, type of thing. Now, this shit is becoming more and more common. Obviously, I've noticed it. I've been critiquing these types of videos. Can you hear it? There we go. Music going off. And I've been critiquing these types of videos, etc., etc. And the reason why this is this has been coming so frequent within our space, and it's actually going to get a lot worse in the coming years, is because the language learning community overall is too nice. We have kind of like a golden rule that everyone just follows. And that rule is, You don't critique another person's abilities in a language, their language learning journey, or anything like that, because you might turn them away from learning languages, and you don't want to be the arsehole who does that. So there's been a rule that's existed for, like, since I started learning languages. Some people talk about it, some people don't, but basically, just don't critique other people, don't be an arsehole. And it's a great rule, because, you know, when we all start out, we don't want to be, like, smashed by the grammar police saying you're doing everything wrong type of thing, and then feel bad about it. But that does make us fertile ground for this type of content. This, you call it manosphere here. I don't think this is necessarily a manosphere thing. In fact, I feel like the manosphere has also been infected with it. And unfortunately, the manosphere is so infected with it now, people only see the manosphere for this. Because, in fact, the manosphere was not always like this. I remember years ago watching content from the manosphere, and the type of content was your dad figure. He was teaching young men how to fix a car, or how to, you know, do things around the house. You know, just, he was basically being a dad figure. He was just a nice guy overall, and you say, hey, you want to know how to fix your fridge? Well, all you got to do is you turn it around here, you use these tools type of thing. And he was making videos. Literally, there was videos from people in the manosphere teaching you how to shave or to do a tie and stuff like that. They were teaching men how to deal with men's problems, basically. And it was good quality content. There was nothing wrong with it, okay? And that was the manosphere. But then people started to seep into it. These, basically the frauds. And what they did is they overtook this manosphere. And they turned it into, a man is a guy who fucking lifts weights all goddamn day, you know, gets fucking beach muscles, you know, gets rich doing like fucking 2 hours of work type of thing, and then just bangs chicks from morning to night, okay? Now when people talk about manosphere, that's what they think. They see that. But they forget it was originally the dad figure. The guy who was just trying to help the kids out there, the young men who didn't have a dad figure growing up, who didn't, or maybe they did have a dad figure, but he wasn't great. Like, there's also a womanosphere, if you want to call it, like the same type of thing. But it's been completely and utterly infected now that all people see is Andrew Tate when they hear manosphere. And it's the same thing that's happening to the fitness industry. Now, the fitness industry overall, like, there is people fighting back within it, but it's pretty infected. And now it's coming to our space, and it's going to infect the shit out of us, because we have the golden rule of never critique someone else's language abilities. Which makes it perfect for these types of people, because they can just walk in, make the most outrageous, insane claims, and no one's going to say anything. And then, what happens when someone new wants to learn a language, who knows nothing about languages? They're going to see some dude who says, oh, this is how you learn a language, it takes you so many years, blah, blah, blah. And then they're going to see some beefed up guy who looks like, you know, he knows how to deal with the body and stuff. And he's like, oh, I learned 25 languages. And then he's going to say some, like, random scripted shit, and people are going to go, holy shit, this guy knows what he's on about. He's got control of his body. He's got control of his mind. He speaks so many more languages compared to this fat, balding white guy over here who speaks one language and, like, is really shit at another one. He's completely honest about it. Like, why would I listen to that guy type of thing? So it's going to take over our space. And these types of people are probably going to become the influencers within the next few years if we don't do something about it. So it's up to us. Like, it's that famous, you know, Winston Churchill quote. What is it? I don't know. I'll give you the summary. But basically, if good people don't do anything, then the bad people take over. It's probably a lot better enunciated by Winston Churchill than by me, but that's essentially it. So, that's how I see it, okay? I'm just the guy who's here pointing this shit out because, well, I've seen it destroy other spheres, and I don't want it to come in here and destroy my sphere. Now, luckily for a lot of people out there, I am an Australian, which means I do get to the point a lot quicker, and I'm actually from a military background. Now, the reason I point out the military background is because I've seen real men. And when I say real men, I mean, like, guys who will go to bat to help you no matter what. You know, they'll come out in the middle of the night type of thing. And these are jack guys. These are big, muscly guys, but they won't go pick fights. The reason they won't go pick fights is because they know that can accidentally kill someone, okay? And they're not, like, roided up or anything like that. These are, like, legitimately tough guys who are also the kindest of people. These are the soldiers that I grew up with, and, you know, I went through military training and I spent time with. And of course you get arsehole soldiers and stuff like that, but they usually get slapped down pretty quick by the actual tough guys. The ones who you do not want to fire up type of thing, because once you do fire them up, you're in trouble. But the problem is those fakers, and it's the same type of thing when it comes to languages. Those fakers, if you let them, they will take over your space. And they're here, and they're testing the waters. And if you look at it from my channel's perspective, what I've been investigating, a lot of them are within the foreign-speaking language space, foreign to English. So, like, there's a lot of them coming out of South America and non-English speaking backgrounds. And I'm not picking on those people. It's just, that's where it's starting to seep in from. But it is coming into the English-speaking space. And if we're not vigilant about this shit, then it's going to take over. And within a few years, the influencers will be these guys. And it's up to us to do something about this. Now, this does mean that you need to think more about the golden rule. The golden rule is a good rule. We should keep following it. We should keep, you know, encouraging people. Don't critique them unnecessarily, stuff like that. But you can't just apply it as a blanket rule. I've seen people apply this as a blanket rule. Like, there's been people who come on my channel, commented under my videos where I expose frauds. Obvious as hell that this person's a fraud. Like, it's laid out all there in front of them. And someone will say, yeah, but, you know, they're trying. Like, why do you have to point out that, you know, they've scripted some stuff? At least they're trying. They speak one other language. Yeah, but they're fraudulently saying they speak 40 other on top of that, or something like that. So, yes, the best fraud is always someone who actually, you know, there is a kernel of truth to it. Yeah, they maybe speak one or two actual other languages, but that does not justify the claim to 50 other languages on top of it, or whatever, okay? So, we have to be more... Basically, you can't just apply it as a blanket rule. You have to be logical about these things and call it out. Because you may think it's obvious, and a lot of people in the language space say this, well, it's obvious that this is a fraud. But it's not obvious to newbies, okay? The people who are new to learning languages, it's not obvious to them. And I know it's not obvious to them because I've had them also drop comments saying, wow, I was following that guy. I loved his videos. I thought he was legit. And then I saw your video and shit, I didn't realize that that was all just bullshit. Like, if you think about it logically, like your first time you ever learnt a language. Now, some of you, maybe that's too young. But for me, that was realistically when I hit my 20s. When I hit my 20s, if someone told me that there's people that spoke, you know, 25 languages fluently, I would have believed it. Because I didn't know anything about language learning. I thought there was legitimate people who were just really good at learning languages, and they were somehow just fluent in 25 languages, and they just had the method to do it. Like, I legitimately would have believed that. Now, maybe that is a sign of my own stupidity. Maybe I'm just an idiot. But if I'm just an idiot, there's a lot of us out there. And they're the ones that these people are preying on. And if you let them prey on these people and acquire this audience and drown out the good content, like from actual people who legitimately tell you how to learn a language, tell you the amount of time it takes, the effort that's actually involved, then those people will not exist anymore. And all you will have is the manosphere of languages. So it's up to us as a community to act on this shit. Now, that's why I do my content. And I feel like it's important I make these videos every now and then because there's a lot of people who say that my community is toxic. They literally call our community toxic because they think all we do is take down people. Now, I try to also uplift people, but the problem is it's hard to know who's legitimate or not until I do the actual investigations. And I don't want to do investigations on the big, successful YouTubers at this stage because they don't need it, realistically. Maybe in a few years when these language manosphere people take over, then they're going to need it. But at the moment, they don't need it. But that's pretty much my thinking on the matter. And yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. And I'll see you all in the next video. And if you're not there, well, I certainly hope you're not following one of these people I've had to debunk.